So thank you guys for working so hard during the past few days to collect research with your group. We are now at the point in our project where it's time to start to think about how we're going to present all of our research and prepare for our debate. So I want you guys to remember that your goal is to demonstrate a really strong argument that's free from personal opinions. And of course, we need to make sure that it's rooted in facts and evidence that you found from credible sources. So your first step today is going to be to select a presentation tool. And there are three options that we are going to give you. So the first is Wakelet, which some of you may have seen before. The second is Sway, which is like an upgraded PowerPoint. And then Padlet, which I know a lot of you have used in classes. Maybe you've never created your own, but you will have a chance to do that. Some groups might be assigned an alternative tool like a PowerPoint or poster, but we will let you know if that's you. So unless you hear otherwise, you're going to be choosing Wakelet, Sway, or Padlet. So there's a link to Wakelet here and a link to Padlet. You'll need to create an account with Office 365. It's free, of course, and you can use your school email address. As far as Sway goes, you can just find that as one of the Office 365 apps. So if you click in this grid in the corner, you'll see Sway there, and it'll take you right into where you can create a new blank Sway. So once you've selected your presentation tool as a group, so a lot of you talked about creating a claim yesterday. If you need some more help with that, there is a resource slide available, but that claim is going to become the title of your presentation. Then you're going to talk to your group and you're going to decide on the three reasons that you feel like are the strongest pieces of evidence that will support your claim. So for each reason that you select, you will need three pieces of evidence. That evidence could come from the same source or it could come from a different source, but you will need three reasons and three pieces of evidence. If that means you need to go back and do a little bit more research, you might need to do that, but keep that in mind. Once you start making your project, you will need to create sections for each piece of evidence, which I'll show you in a moment. And on Monday, we'll talk about the counter-argument. So your project will need to have three reasons with three pieces of evidence, and then a counter-argument. Again, we'll talk about that on Monday, which is going to ask you to look at the other side. You will need two pieces of evidence to support that counter-argument. Now, this part is really important. Now that you know the parts of the presentation, we are really recommending that your group assigns a specific reason or the counter-argument to each member of your group. This should ensure that the work is divided evenly and fairly. We'd also like you to initial your work so that way we can see what you contributed. If somebody's initials aren't there, that's probably going to show us that they didn't do much of the work. Next week we'll talk more about the links library and the works cited and your opening statement. So you should probably just focus on steps 1 through 4 for today. So I'm going to pause for one moment. So if you go back to the HyperDoc that we've been using, this project tutorial and example slide will kind of show you how to set up your presentation and what it should look like. I'm just going to quickly click on each of the links so you can get a short visual, but it is slide number 16. So for the Padlet is going to have the claim right up at the top. Then each of the reasons, you would need 3 in the counter argument, of course, and then all the evidence, pictures, anything you'd like below it. Here's an example of the Sway. So for the Sway, this would be the headline, and then you would set up the reasons, initial next to your contribution, and then the evidence for the reason would go below it. And then finally, the Wakelet. This Wakelet is not a space Wakelet, but I just wanted you guys to be able to see what it will look like. It's basically a streaming and scrolling website where you can add all your content in. So you could make each reason a headline and then have your evidence and pictures below it. So hopefully you'll be excited to learn a new way to present your research. If you want to rewatch this, it will be posted to the project tutorial slide. Best of luck with your research today and working on your presentation.